Welcome to a conversation or conversations with Senator Michael Moore. My name's Kevin Byrne, and Senator Michael Moore is our state senator representing the second I'm from Boston, Worcester district. That includes Shrewsbury and 5 other places.
There you go. You got them out right.
I got the 5 right this time. Right.
Well, the 6.
Yeah, that's right. No, Shrewsbury's in a special category. There's Shrewsbury and then 5 others.
Okay.
Right. And I say that, as we all know, because this program is being taped in beautiful downtown Shrewsbury.
Yes.
Right here on Parker Road. God, I always love it when we travel someplace and we meet people from other parts of the country, and they always say, "Kevin in Virginia, would you talk? Would you talk?" And like that Boston stuff. And both of us have really gotten over the whole thing, but this is what we grow up with.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually think a New York accent is actually more distinguishable than.
Oh yeah, you can tell that. I can tell. I can even tell sections of New York. Oh, you're from Long Island. Oh, you're from the Bronx. It varies amongst that, really and truly. Have you ever been to London and ridden in a cab?
No.
We were in a cab coming from the train station or someplace. This wonderful, lovely Cockney cab driver. And we had the longest conversation with him, back and forth, asking him questions, and he would give us long answers. And we got to the end, and we got out, and I said, "Virginia, did you understand any of that?" And she said, "Not a word." But in any event, we understand each other, even if you're from Millbury. Millbury. Where the Woolies almost won best name of a sports team or sports teams. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, Michael, where have you been? There's been a big contest going on in which they were looking in central Massachusetts which is the best, I don't know whether it's funniest or most apropos, a name of sport, the names that they have. Yeah. Now, Millbury is the Woolies.
Yes.
And I remember when you first told me that, I said, "Woolies, where's that Woolies?" And Woolen Mills. Of course it is. Yeah. But the one that won was the group from Clinton. I'm sorry, Clinton. What is the name of them? Oh, God. In any event, they beat the Woolies. The Woolies came in second.
Oh, that's still an accomplishment, second out of all those different names.
All the crazy things all over the place.
That's funny. Oh. Because I remember back years ago when obviously different generations want to change.
Oh, everybody wants. Well, lately we've been going through that. You can't. We're living in a.
But this wasn't relative to that. This was just the kids wanted to change, that they didn't understand the Woolies. They wanted something more.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Fancy, I guess, or whatever.
Sure. So. They want to be the Killers or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Can't remember what it was.
That is funny though.
Yeah. So
but it is so appropriate to the Woolen Mills that basically was Millbury.
Yeah. All the mills. Yeah. Actually, so Millbury was originally part of Sutton.
Yeah.
And Sutton was more the agricultural farm. Yeah. And Asa Waters, who actually had a gun manufacturing company, was one of the lead people to get the town, the industrial part of Sutton, to separate and incorporate into the town of Millbury.
You got it. All right. All those elitists wanted to move away from the working people.
That's what the working people, yeah.
That is great. Michael, we have an awful lot to talk about because we haven't talked about anything since before Christmas. I think it was a week before Christmas we did a program, and we were still talking about the bloody budget, but we're not going to talk about the budget anymore.
Well,
even though there's a new one coming out. I know. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Stay tuned next month. We'll talk about the new one. The one thing.
Well, before we get to the cyber stuff, you got your little cheat sheet here.
Oh, I got my cheat sheet.
Don't forget about that.
I have told Michael a whole bunch of times when I was really more involved in politics than I am now. Because now all I do is give money. I don't do a whole lot of other stuff, but I keep involved. But at one point, I used to subscribe to the State House News, which was everything that was happening good, bad, indifferent, that was happening under the Golden Dome, and I used to love reading that stuff because I knew most of the people back in my younger days, okay? Most of whom either in prison or dead. The ones that I knew at that time anyway. But in any event, last week in the Boston Globe, there was a whole article about how busy, little tongue-in-cheek, I think, how busy the legislature has been. Like, people think they're not doing anything, but they have passed 7 or 8 very important bills, and we're going to list them all for you, so you all know, what the legislature is working on. And the first one is the proposed law.
Well, let's clear it now that this is also since January 1st.
Okay, well, this year, yeah.
This year,
Yeah, this is Happy New Year, right? Yeah. Okay. The first one was a law to prohibit and make illegal the declawing of cats. Okay, I really never thought about that, but, part of whoever proposed it was it's terrible for the cats. They can't ruin furniture anymore, and it changes their lifestyle and their way to look on life and the rest of it.
So the argument behind it is that it inflicts a lot of pain on the cats.
Right.
That it's compared to removing the tips of your fingers.
Right.
And then it causes health issues later in life.
Okay, really important. But as I said, on the scale of 1 to 5,000, about things that are before the legislature, I didn't think that was right at the top of the list. In any event, then the second one was, and these are things I guess I realized in my dark mind, there are a lot of old laws that were passed back in the mid-1800s, okay, when shall I say, Christianity and government was not particularly separated for the other. And it was a law, and it still is a law on the books until you folks decided to change it, is to take
before you get into this is only the Senate. These bills have not gone through the House yet.
Oh, this is just the Senate.
This is just the
Senate.
Senate.
So this is just you guys working on it. They're not even doing anything, right?
Oh, I can't say that.
No, but they're going to have to get all these and decide they have to approve, or whether they need amendments to
So these haven't even passed yet.
Okay, so the second one is laws against sodomy. It's still a law, a crime, punishable like by 20 years in prison or Devil's Island if you were caught sodomizing or being sodomized, okay? And the next one, still a law on the books, using the holy name of God in a curse. Candor, there are some forms of it that I violated that about 4 times today, okay? And that the using of the names God, Jesus Christ, or the Holy Spirit are prohibited by law, okay? And then the other one is there are laws against not prohibition, prostitution all over the place. And one of the aspects are special penalties for common night walkers, which was geared exclusively toward women, because apparently in those days, no man could be a common night walker, okay, and the rest of it. I just found it hysterical when I read those. I say, oh, these guys have been busy. Now I know it's only the 40 senators that have been
It's only
busy.
40.
And this
you
is
actually,
all going, I'm going to see what the House does with them.
So you've actually missed 2 bills.
Oh, 2? What else?
That the Senate has also done.
Okay.
One is fentanyl test strips.
Oh, well, now you're getting into good stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just saying that, and there's another one dealing with wheelchair warranties. So,
and that's a good one. Okay, these were only the fun ones.
Those are the fun ones.
I wanted to call to your attention and to all of our curious viewers who are trying to understand what's happening.
And want to know what the Senate is doing.
What the Senate is doing. I don't care about the House. It's 160 of them. Okay? I don't care. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is something that I asked my dear friend Alex, your communications director, to put together and to think about. And he did. And I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Okay. 2 weeks ago, Globe, 2 weeks ago, okay, I turned to, after we got through with the Ohio primary and now then into the thing, by page 3, we got to real news, okay, and it was on page 3, full page, on page 3, with a picture, a very substantial picture of a dear friend of mine named Senator Michael Moore, right there. And I said, that's my pal Michael. I better read this article. And I read it, and I said, oh, this is really important stuff. I'm going to read this paragraph from you.
Okay.
On December 22, the Joint Committee on Advanced Information Technology, the Internet, and Cybersecurity, chaired by Senator Michael Moore and Representative Tricia Farley Bouvier, announced that a wide-ranging bill centered around cybersecurity and artificial intelligence has been reported favorably out of committee with a unanimous vote of its members. The bill will bolster Massachusetts' cybersecurity capabilities and bring reasonable regulations to a rapidly accelerating artificial intelligence industry, will help the Commonwealth to better prepare for the uncertainties of the future and to make our digital systems more resilient to bad actors. That was the first paragraph in the article in the Globe. And rather interesting, when I asked Alex for some information, the first thing he sent me was all of this great information, not 16 pages. Thank you, Alex. Okay, and that's what this is all about. This just hit me as this is an important field and an important subject.
Yeah.
I mean, man alive. I mean, these crazies, whoever they are, part of it is, I guess, money, ransomware. And part of it is just crazies who want to see how much they can muck up the world, okay? But when you hear about schools, hospitals, private businesses,
Water infrastructure,
I mean, things that really are almost really get raised to a national security issue.
Yeah,
okay?
no, it is,
I
yeah.
mean, that these people can have, in some capacity, are able to get into all sorts of systems. Okay, and this is something. Boy, when I read that, you told me at the beginning, one of your committees was this advanced information technology, the internet, and cybersecurity. That's important stuff, Michael.
yeah,
Tell me about this
so,
more in detail.
So basically, right now, it's that the industry self-regulates. Self-regulates, and obviously, we expect there will be some opposition to this, but
As there is to everything.
As there is to everything, but just as you were talking about the various areas that have been victims of cybersecurity breaches,
Sure.
It's actually the week before this bill came out for a vote.
Yeah.
I think it was Infinity was hacked. 26 million users.
Wow.
So their personal information gone now and gone out to bad actors, people who are going to use this for nefarious intents.
Sure.
So
Hospitals get hit with this.
there was one hospital system, wasn't in Mass, but I think it was New Jersey, that 3 hospital systems, the system went down, was hacked. So 3 hospitals went down. Ambulances had to be diverted to different locations.
Right.
We've had cases of Florida and I think it was state of Washington, where the water treatment plants were hacked. The one in Florida, this was a few years ago, they caught it just before a chemical was going to be released.
But they take this stuff away. I mean, the people
So-
who are using this in their daily work can't work.
No, so
with
basically,
any of
so there's 2 types of hacks. There's the hack where they take they're going to take the information.
Yeah.
You never see it again.
Right.
Then there's the ransomware, where the ransomware actually, and a few of I've been doing a lot of traveling this year, going to different forums
I
and
know that
seminars
you
on
were.
this,
Yeah.
and so the FBI's been at a couple, and they will tell you the ransomware industry. It really has evolved to an industry where
Isn't
if you're a victim of ransomware,
Yeah.
if you pay that price that they're
Ransom,
asking,
sure.
they will give you back your information.
Millions of dollars at times.
Yeah, we've had police stations, we've had city halls,
Yeah.
so. But if you pay it, you can rest assured they're if you want
It's like a kidnapping, huh?
well, kidnapping, but also they kind of laughed. They say about ethics among thieves. They actually will honor their word. They will give it back. Now the question is, do you want to pay it? If you don't, but if it's between that and losing all your information, maybe you do. But this hopefully by implementing something where we actually have standards, and these are just minimum standards that need to be implemented. We're not saying you can have a gold or platinum type standards, but what we're trying to do is establish these two commissions, one with cybersecurity, one with artificial intelligence, where they will actually, with industry involvement, so we would have industry stakeholders who would be on these different commissions, because we do not.
Because they are going to be the victims of this.
Well, they're also the victims, but they're also going to be the companies that utilize their software are going to be the victims. But
I see.
But we don't want to. But what we don't want to do is, because technology is a major part of our economy.
Tell me about it.
So we want regulation on what security standards should be implemented, but we're not trying to stifle the industry from doing more research and developing more technology.
Right.
Now, the other issue we have is with cybersecurity. With artificial intelligence, is that if you talk to state government, we don't even have a good grasp of what state agencies are using artificial intelligence.
Right.
Now, we've talked about facial recognition for years. Well, that's a form of artificial intelligence.
Sure.
So, one thing in this would be, and the state government is actually doing this right now. They are trying to get a better assessment of who is using what.
Yeah.
But this would establish an artificial intelligence commission that would look at that, that would do a complete assessment with the private sector on what's going on with artificial intelligence. We also have in this bill, the Civil Defense Act.
Yeah.
If we would have, and just as you were talking about with national security issues, right now the Civil Defense Act, if we had a major cyber attack that shut down our infrastructure, the governor does not have the authority to institute a state of emergency based on a cyber incident. So that's one thing that we would want to do here, is update that. There's also what we have in here, training.
Michael, we're moving into a different world, aren't we? Huh?
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah. So it's actually.
I don't think it's moving. I think we've moved.
Oh, we moved, but the scary, and this is one of the reasons that we want to have these commissions.
Yeah.
We can't pass a state law because a state law, as we have all seen, it can take the legislature 2 to 10 to 12 years, 20 years to pass legislation.
Right.
So we're looking that this would establish regulatory commissions that can evolve as the technology evolves. So as the technology evolves, the regulations can evolve with that. And all you need to do for a change regulations is public hearings, or you can issue emergency public regulations. So we needed a system that can evolve as the system does, as the technology evolves. So one thing is with the for people who know that follow this quantum, that's a whole new type of technology.
Yeah.
If that gets perfected, which there are companies that are working to do it, the capabilities of what we have now could be like 1,000 times stronger, or the data and what we can do is going to be 1,000 times more efficient and stronger. Yeah. So if we develop regulations now based on this, what happens when that's perfected? So what this bill would do, it would require mandatory statewide public employee cybersecurity training, and that would be modeled after the ethics training that we all have to take.
Yeah, that's essential, because apparently a lot of this stuff happens with, just ordinary working people who are sitting there doing work on their computer, and something popping up.
So have you ever heard the phishing emails, the phishing scams?
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is.
And then somebody just pops into it, and bingo.
And they're into the system. Yeah. So what this training would do is
information.
It would give the employees, train them on how to recognize the phishing email.
Yeah.
Now, the problem we're having, so usually the phishing email, there'd be a spelling mistake, or there'd be the grammar wouldn't be properly written. But what we're having now with AI, now with the use of AI, some of those distinguishable characters that you can see,
You can get them.
you can't pick up on it now.
That's scary.
So it's even, so, and the other issue we had with this is that if we only do public sector, well, there's many times public sector is contracting out to a private sector. So if we don't have some integration of the public and private, then if you don't have some regulations governing the private, then there's a backdoor into the public sector. So we have to, so again, and it could have been accidental, someone opening an email, could be some software within it. So I went to one seminar, they were talking about, the FBI was talking about, you know, the USB ports. Sometimes they'll people give them out, or if you find one laying there, what some bad actors will do is they'll have a virus or something on there. So people find it, they pick it up. Oh, I got a USB port. They'll put it in there.
Bingo.
And now they're in.
That's scary.
Yeah, it really is. It really is scary. So
But it really needs substantial work just to move us up to speed on what the blazes is happening. And I know, you know, there are I read articles about, you know, doctors who are saying, you know, artificial intelligence will help us in some sense save lives because of the information that is available to us. And those are the people who are basically saying, you know, let's not limit it. Okay, there are phenomenally good uses for this.
But this is the key. We're not saying with these regulatory boards that, well, I guess we're saying that we should establish guardrails or maybe some limits.
Yeah.
But not to the degree that, say it's being used in medicine.
Yeah.
Well, we're not saying you can't use it in medicine.
Right.
Let's just make sure we know how it's being used, and that there are certain safety protocols, and that we know that it's not going beyond any sort of ethical standards or areas that we don't want to cross.
Right.
So there's a fine line in how we can do this.
There is, but I mean, thank goodness for you. And I do not know the state rep. Where's she from?
Oh, she's from Pittsfield.
Pittsfield. Okay. Outside of Boston.
Yeah.
We're still in Boston.
I'm
sorry, Shrewsbury.
So Tricia Farley-Bouvier and I, she was actually several years ago when I did the sexual assault bill on college campuses.
Yeah.
I was the Senate chair. She was actually the individual in the House that we worked with. So she got it through the House, and I got it through the Senate. So we actually worked together many years ago.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, congratulations on doing some important work, and don't be bored with that. This is important stuff. Okay, it's affecting all of us in some fashion.
Well, this is what we've
Great
argued.
story about artificial intelligence. The president's former lawyer named Giuliani, had to go into court and apologize to the court because the attorney he hired had put together a brief with numbers of legal cases that turned out that he or she, I don't know who it was, got them from artificial intelligence factor, really, and it was all wrong. And I was saying, oh my God! I mean, thank God it's you, Rudy. But I mean, you know, the legal profession is getting involved in some fashion with this, which is
so. And another thing you have to look at too, Will, is with the AI. So I'm going to use facial recognition again as an example for people of color. Yeah. So there was one, it might have been Walgreens maybe or Walmart. One of them had a facial recognition system, and it was identifying people of color. Right. Because facial recognition does not work as well on people of color as it does with Caucasians and white people. So
I've read about several of those cases.
So we want to make sure, that's another thing we want to make sure in the use of these technologies, that certain biases or certain types of discriminatory information isn't actually inputted and utilized.
Okay. There's something else I want to get to, and this is, I'm so pleased that you're involved with this, and I hope you folks are too. There's a wheelchair warranty reform bill. Yes. Tell us about that.
So basically, right now, the
problem that has developed is there are a lot of people using wheelchairs that break. And again, according to my valuable sources at the Globe, basically saying, you know, these are poor people who have no money, and there's nothing they can do. They can't get out. They can't get around.
Yeah.
That was an issue that came up.
It is an issue, and again, this is a bill that's has passed the Senate.
Okay.
So they were even having problems having the manufacturers come out and diagnose what the problems were. There's an issue with getting and this is still going to be an issue getting a spare wheelchair.
Right.
Now, as you and I talked before the show, some of these wheelchairs they're actually made towards the disability of the individual, so they can cost $30,000 to $60,000. But there shouldn't be an issue. The manufacturer should not be slow in response to as far as diagnosing, in which they were. They were slow in diagnosing what the problem was of the wheelchair.
Right.
So this requires them to come out within 3 days, or they can do a virtual assessment.
Okay, so this is also called a warranty.
Yes.
Warranty bill.
So
the deal is to have these things warranted to be fixable within a period of time.
It was warranted up to a year. Now it's extended to 2 years.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, and we can only do what's sold in Mass. So it's what's sold at least in Massachusetts.
Right.
So that's it. So that's a bill that also went through. I think it was the first week of January when we went back.
Right.
So those are some things.
So as much as I cared about my State House News picking up silly things that need to be corrected from the 1800s, you guys rather obviously are still working pretty hard.
And one quick thing, just to go back to budgets quickly, as we began the beginning of the year, right now we're about $800 million below revenue benchmarks.
I know, money's not coming in.
Yep, so the Haley administration actually did 9 C cuts. I was going to say 8C, 9 C cuts of $800 million.
We're running out of time.
Okay.
And is looking for more dough, and there should be more dough. And folks, I wish we had more time.
See you next month.
But we do everything we can to keep you guys posted, okay? Thank you so much for viewing us. Stay with us. We'll be back very, very shortly.
All clear. Great job.